Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Starfleet Command Orion Pirates Plus mod. I'm Dirac and we're playing a Federation campaign and things are going pretty well so far. Our first couple of patrols saw us seeing off a little group of pirates and then running into a monster that was way stronger than anything we could handle. So here we are sort of back in Earth orbit and we're just gonna see if we need to patch anything up and then get underway again. You may have recalled that when we finished up the last time, there was a mission highlighted. Whenever you save and come back into the game, it'll generally reset that mission to whatever it was previously. So, we are in our frigate, the USS Green, a standard Federation little design, and let's see what we can do and try and reclaim this territory that we lost after the monster rampaged through the area. A Convoy Raid. So a Convoy Raid is pretty much what it sounds like. There's going to be an enemy convoy in the area. We're going to go and try and kill as many ships as we possibly can. This is going to be a syndicate convoy, which means pirates who are operating in the area. Pirates and monsters are pretty much the main thing we're going to be fighting so long as we stay sort of towards the core. This mission should be a little bit interesting in our little tiny frigate, considering we don't have a heck of a lot of power and not a whole ton of speed. But we'll do our best. So there's the convoy, all set way out there. Those syndicate ships carrying around their smuggled goods. And here's us in the back, rushing to try and stop this. I'm never not going to get tired of seeing these cool fossil-looking ships. If you've been playing Orion Pirates as long as I have, you've gotten used to the exact same ship designs time and time again. So normally it's the Okinawa class, but having this weird little flying saucer with a couple of warp nacelles is always a lot of fun. Somewhere there should be an escort, but I don't quite see him yet. There should generally be at least one convoy escort, and did I mouse over him? No. But we are charged on phaser capacitor, so we can bump our speed while still keeping those photons charging. And pretty soon we'll have those photons charged and be able to bump the speed up even more. Let's get stuck into... There we are. It's another freighter. So it looks like they've got some kind of Q ship as their defense. So I'm going to slow down a bit, fire a probe, so we know what we're getting into here. Once again, the awesome little new models in this. Oh god. Okay, so these are plasma torpedoes. Plasma torpedoes are the nastiest pieces of equipment you can possibly have in this game in terms of weapons. And it's a good thing we're flying so fast. A plasma torpedo fires out and flies at a speed of 6. If it shoots at you within range of about 10, it'll deal full damage to you, and the amount of damage this thing deals is absurdly high. So we're going to try and stay out of his frontal arc. He's probably going to get a shot off at us regardless. Yep, he's coming in. And if we can stay away from his front, we should be able to avoid those photon torpedoes in their entirety. Or not photon, but plasma torpedoes. Like I said, plasma torpedoes are nasty customers. So if we get shot at by them, those plasma Ds could probably completely kill us. Oh wow. Okay, so we took across another shield. We're going to get our Marines involved in this action. We don't want those plasma weapons being used against us. Now because we are flying so fast compared to what we can charge, and he's flying faster still, our heavy weapons are not charging quite as fast. They need 2 points of energy for 2 turns to charge up, and then another point of energy just to hold them. So with us traveling so quickly and the engine power not being all that great, we don't have enough energy to do both flying fast and shooting. But we desperately need to. There goes our hit and run teams. They didn't kill it. We desperately need to stay out of this frontal arc. If we get within it, he's gonna murder us. There's no question of that. Let's see. Anything I can do shuttle-wise? Not really. This is the shuttle conversion screen. It can show you sort of what you can switch your shuttles into. This is the Suicide Shuttle. It'll take one of our mines, put it in the shuttle, and fly right into his hull, which is pretty cool. Commander Shuttle will bore him through shields, and the Wild Weasel will absorb those plasma torpedoes if he gets to shoot them at me, which we're going to try and keep him hitting and target destroyed. Nice. So we've blown up one of his plasma torpedoes, which is good for us. And we'll keep on coming around. When we take out the second one, he'll be pretty much toothless, because there's no a whole heck of a lot less. The yellow icon that you see here, that's what he's repairing at this time. So right now his repair crews are fixing his ECM generator. I don't quite know why. It's not particularly useful to him at the moment, but never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. And we didn't hit that target, but he is dropping in power, so we must have hit something important. So we're just going to try and match speed, keep behind him. He doesn't have any rear-firing weapons right now. The only thing he's got is his plasma torpedo, which he could high energy turn and hit us with. Hopefully not. And also, keep in mind, his endgame is to avoid us from killing his buddies. So the longer he can drag this out, the better chance he has of keeping us from being able to destroy the convoy. Pinged over another couple of Marines. That didn't do it. Get down at low speeds again. I figure by next fire we'll be able to have won. Hopefully. I might even have a photon torpedo ready by then. Speed up just a little bit to get past that shield, because I'd rather fire these photons right into his stern rather than into a weak shield. And I'm waiting for this to switch to this arc, because that'll mean... Got it! Minor mistake on our part. So the Marines were killed along with it. Marines are spent when you use them like that. But also, because we dropped the shield to beam over, we took a pretty rough hit. We're probably going to need that. And we're going to try and catch up to this convoy and kill them before they can get away. Although that is probably going to be pretty difficult. So phasers are recycled, phaser capacitor is full. So phasers don't actually charge using power, they recycle every turn. And the amount of power that's needed to fire them is stored up here in this phaser capacitor. This slider changes how fast you charge this thing, so when it's all the way up here, it'll take however much energy is required to charge this phaser capacitor in one turn. It's the most efficient, fastest way to do it. But if you are in desperate need of power and you find yourself not using whole arcs of phasers, you can drag this down and charge at a slower rate. I'll almost never do that, just because phasers are so useful for the Federation. Really can't afford not to be using them at their highest efficiency. So furthest away is 65. That'll be this guy up here. Can't see the edge of the map on this, which is good, although we still haven't quite caught up to them yet. And I would love to drop a little bit of power speed to start charging photon torpedoes, but we're going to hold off on that. I am planning on dumping my shuttles to fight as well. They're not fighters by any stretch of the imagination, but each one has a Phaser 3 mounted on it, which is some extra firepower. So long as they don't have a whole ton of firepower on board, I might do that just to kind of hopefully pump out enough damage to stop this thing from ending against me. Frigates are kind of small to be doing this sort of convoy raid work, just because not a whole heck of a lot of weapons, not a whole heck of a lot of power to catch up and keep with the convoy. They're not moving all that fast, but we did get dragged pretty far away by the defender. So he's got a single phaser mount. We don't know what it is yet, but we will soon. It's a Phaser 3, so not particularly dangerous. So we're going to get nice and close. Can't remember quite how fast shuttles travel, so I'm going to wait until practically dumping on top of him. So shuttles, attack, and we gotta wait for the shuttle bay to be ready. So now he'll fly around, try and shoot that. We're going to take this opportunity to chase after this one, when we will also, as we fly by... Whoops. Not my brightest idea. Basically, we just want to mix this up, stir up the convoy so they can't just immediately run for a board edge, which is what they're trying to do. And the shuttle is set to attack me. Go kick his butt. Those shuttles are not particularly great for this, but hey, they're mostly unarmed freighters. Oh, nice. I didn't quite realize that they were that weak this. And yeah, my shuttles can't keep up. It's a little embarrassing. Oh, and we're getting close to this map edge, so we gotta start dealing with these guys pretty quick. Worst comes to worst, what we can end up doing is tractor beaming them to keep them from running too far too fast. Oh, I think one of my shuttles exploded. Oh no, they fired. There's another one. So in the normal game, shuttles or freighters are a little bit more robust than this. Maybe it's just because of these specific freighters that they're so weak, but normally you gotta pour quite a bit of firepower into them before they'll actually go down. I'm not complaining because, you know, we're this close to the board edge, but yeah, I'm a little surprised at how quick they're going down. I'll shut off the photon torpedo for just a minute. Get in nice and close. Yeah. It's pretty nice. And we'll take this moment. Return. And engage the tractor beam. Just to keep him away from the board edge and to give my shuttles time to get back. I think if the shuttles are deployed when the mission ends, they are destroyed. I normally don't use them like this, I'm not entirely sure. And we'll drag them. Now, he can build up a repel beam to try and fight against me. He's got to match however much power I've poured into holding to push away. He's a freighter. I'm not too concerned about how much power he can bring to bear, frankly. And I'm just buying myself some time. Hello, boys. Come home. Alrighty, let's end this. Took a little more damage than we wanted to. This early in the game, we don't want to take too much damage on the hull itself because we don't have a whole ton of prestige to just kind of waste on things like that. And we want to bank as much as we can so that we can buy a better ship. And this sector is back under our control. I'll pop over to here, hit up a resupply. We used up a spare part and some Marines. And we got to keep the shuttles, okay. So we made about 300 and something. We spent about 30 to get stuff back. Sort of maintaining a decent pace of growth here. Just gotta take a quick look at the shipyard. Once again, the Federation destroyer. The much maligned Federation destroyer. It doesn't have enough power to charge these weapons and to move at the same time. So, I'm a little bit hard on it. It's a good ship, but well, actually, it's not that good of a ship. Another Federation frigate. You can have up to 3 other ships in your little squadron, and you can have even more when you get into bigger fights. But we're generally going to try and keep it down to 1 until we get into something really good. Destroyer leader. This is armed with plasma torpedoes, which are much, much better at dealing lots of crunch, nasty damage. Unfortunately, it's going to suffer under the exact same problem as the other Federation, and even worse, actually. 2 photon torpedoes, 2 plasma torpedoes. The amount of energy that's required to charge that is going to way outstrip that 19 engine power. He probably won't be able to charge all his weapons, much less move and charge them. Light cruiser. Light cruiser plus, actually. It's got drone racks added to it. That's these missile launchers here. That makes it a little bit more flexible. You'll notice that despite being a light cruiser, as opposed to the destroyer before, it's got fewer photon torpedoes, only 2 of them compared to the 4. It's a much more balanced design. This might also be an R refit, I don't quite know. That adds additional rear-firing phasers. This would be a nice, interesting ship to add in, but it's a little bit outside of our price range right now. This is a command cruiser, and this is sort of the gold standard of what I would consider the minimum of what we want. Normally, this is the type of ship that I blitz for. 4 photon torpedoes, a drone rack just to power up scatter pack shuttles, a little bit of anti-missile defense too. These will only shoot at like drones fired from missiles or fighters, so it's really handy to have, and it costs no power. And enough engine power to charge all this and fly at a speed of about 14, which is pretty nice. That's... How much was that again? It'll be like 16... I'm going blind, I missed it. I want CC plus, 1788. So once we save up to that, that'll be sort of the thing we're looking for. You can also buy little freighters. They're not particularly useful or anything, but they're nice. You know, for roleplay purposes. That's enough of that. Let's keep hunting. We're avoiding this sector. This is a nebula. Our shields won't work very well there. We don't want to fight there because one of our greatest advantages is our shields. I'm gonna go on another patrol. See what kind of damage we can deal. We have no idea what's out there. It's just a deep space patrol. And because we're a good Federation captain, we immediately go to red alert. And we're going to look around and see what we can't find. I could launch a probe, and the probe will extend my scanning range, but the probe needs to charge at the very beginning. It takes 1 turn to charge a probe, it's 1 turn to charge your phaser capacitor, 2 turns to charge your photon torpedoes, unless you overload them, in which case I think it takes 3 or 4 turns. Now drift along, and there he is. Up, it's the Klingons. Alrighty, so good old-fashioned frigate fight. Klingon bird of prey, fairly light frigate, as opposed to their much more powerful ones, which is the standard frigate you'll get if you play as the Klingons. And yeah, this is like a really light skirmisher. 2 disruptors. His disruptors have a better effective range than my photon torpedoes. They charge twice as fast, they cost half the energy, but they only deal half the damage. So, they're nice if you like that sort of skirmishing battle. But we're the Federation. We want to really sock it to you. So we're going to overload the photon torpedoes. That'll reduce their range down to 8, as opposed to like really long. And even at range 8, they won't be very accurate. They'll only really be accurate at a range of about 1 or less, where they will actually deal damage to ourselves when they fire. But it does double the damage, 16 each, 32 damage, and a nice real burst up front. He probably won't last that. He doesn't even have good phasers on this boat. He's got 2 disruptors, and that's it. These phaser 3s, their range is maximum of something like 4. 2 of them is better than a single phaser 1, technically, but they're not very good. So we're going to plot along at a speed of about 12. He's doing 18. He's always going to want to be faster than us. He relies on his speed and maneuverability more than we do. But that'll allow us to give our front shields some buffer. Now we did take a nice chunking hit. And that's sort of what Klingons are supposed to do. The AI is not so good at it, but Klingon players will fly in, fire, fly away, fly in, fire, fly away. Because the whole point of what they want to do is called the Klingon Saber Dance. Ouch. So like I said, that flashback. He's looking to do what's called the Klingon Saber Dance. And you fly in, you shoot at long range, you fly away, and you just sort of whittle down their shields. It's a really effective tactic, but it does take forever. So whenever I play Klingons, I generally try and rely a little bit more heavily on my drones. Missiles dealing a lot more damage a lot more quickly. This actually does kind of suck for us because having no front shield. I'm going to try and get away without having to repair the warp engine. It's a little bit of a risk, but I'm trying to save some money. Oh, come on. Nope, we're not going to get it in time. So we're going to turn around the other way, let him get behind us, and hopefully we'll be able to stab a phaser 1 through his rear. Yeah, just like that. He's taking some serious damage to his warp core. He's only plodding along at a speed of 4. This little button here, if you turn it on, will show the weapon arcs, but it does overlap what they are, so if you haven't memorized what your ship is, you click this little button to make sure you can see what you got. As you can see, phasers generally have a pretty wide open arc. There's even better ones out there. 360 degree phaser 1 arcs, especially on the cruisers, are really nice. We don't have that though. There we go. A nice quick little patrol there. Against Klingons, the Federation does pretty well. We don't have to worry about massive amounts of crunch damage. Also, to be fair, we did kind of outclass him. So we're going to supply, fix the ship. A shipyard defense. Sure, we'll jump into this. So shipyard defense is, we have 3 shipyards, and they're going to come try and blow them up. We got to stop them from doing it. And we've got some friends along for the ride. USS Richards, another frigate just like us. USS Rommel, which I believe was an FLG plus. So I think that's a flagship. Frigate leader. Ooh, he has a refit. So if you'll notice, his engines are all in the motion picture style, whereas ours are in the original series style. So he's got a much newer version of the ship, and if you look at this, he's got missile launchers, phasers, and an anti-missile system. No photon torpedoes though. And I think we're only fighting 1 frigate. Yeah. Okay. That'll be fun. So, 2 frigates of our class, which are pretty nice, versus this little guy. Let's get a look to see what he is. I'm going to take the time to overload the torpedoes. Ooh, he's a little bit more scary. He can potentially have scatter pack. And what a scatter pack is, it's one of the admin shuttles that you modify to carry 6 missiles. And you drop it out, it waits a little while, then it explodes with all 6 missiles firing whatever you were aiming at when you dropped it. It's a nasty surprise for anybody who gets shot at by it. So we're going to try and avoid that, but I get the feeling we're going to be the target of it anyway. Oh, no, here he comes. There's our... I think it's a frigate leader. Good, come around. Photon torpedoes, their sort of sweet spot is range of 8. At that range, they are 50% effective. So a range of 4 shot is a pretty decent shot to take. And we will speed up, speed up, speed up. Nice phaser 3. Like I said, phaser 3s, great point defense weapon. Ooh, who's firing that? Huh. The shipyards in Orion Pirates Plus apparently have their own defenses. That's pretty cool. And now it's just 2 Federation frigates bullying this little tiny guy. I almost feel bad. And because we got our missile guy here with his point of defense, he's close enough to kind of shield all of us. Oh, that's a good point. I don't think there's a... I was going to try and capture him. You can't capture pirate ships. They self-destruct before you can do it, unless they change that in this mod. But other Empire races, go right ahead. Take them over. 450 prestige. So you kind of want to go on these sorts of missions because they give you a lot of cash. So we're at 1219. Do a quick check of the shipyard. There's that CL Plus again. It would bump us up a decent amount. Not hugely, but we would gain a drone rack, we would gain more energy to move. Our movement ratio would cost a little bit more, but it would be a nice little bit of an upgrade. A CAR Plus. So I'm guessing that is, yeah. So CA, Cruiser, R, which is the rear firing, which is the Phaser 3 refit. So probably these two. And then the Plus added the drone launcher. This is kind of what we would be looking for. I'll also bet that this is probably a motion picture version, Constitution refit. And in a couple of missions we'll probably be able to afford it too. FT3. Free Trader. There's a whole bunch of new ship classes in this game, so I'm not 100% sure about what all of this is anymore. Police flagship, that's what he was. The guy who was with us before, who was protecting us with his anti-missile defenses. Sort of what you'd expect, actually, to be defending that sort of facility. Deep Space Encounter is generally the exact same thing as Patrol, just you start out a little bit further away from each other. We're going to go with the Convoy Escort. Play the other side of the equation. And I made a mistake. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Wow. We're in trouble. This is a nightmare. This is confusing. So this is a Mirok ship, and normally the Mirok are on our side, but apparently not today. So we have to protect our own Federation Smalls. I'm gonna be honest, we've lost this mission before it even began. The best chance we have is to drag him away from these guys. But these freighters are so weak now that they're just not going to last. Okay, so plan is we're going to go out here, punch him out, come around, distract him, and get him to chase us. And hope the freighters can get away in time, and hope we don't get killed while doing it. I would prefer not to die. If we were to die, we would get into a smaller ship, which is not fantastic. That's not fair. I'm gonna be frank, I've never seen this sort of heavy response so early into a campaign. Normally if you hang around the core worlds, you don't run into enemy heavy cruisers. But I guess that's another balance change that got made with the Orion Pirates Plus mod. I kind of approve of the change actually, because it does mean that you can't get complacent. Oh boy, we're dead. We're just dead. So, that's a 6 missile armament. He can fire that in 360 degrees around me. He's probably got... Oh, fuck off. He's probably got Crappy drones travel at speed 12. With any luck, they're also... Yep. So increase speed. They travel at speed 16, not speed 12. That's unpleasant. That's very, very unpleasant. Let's see how much we can tie up. Oh boy. And so we're gonna reinforce that aft shield. We actually don't have the power to do it, but we're gonna try. And now we need that shield. Attack. Deploy mine. Now drones are dumb. They'll fly right into this and kill themselves. Which means I can cut some power. He doesn't have a huge armament advantage over us, but he's got a heck of a hull advantage over us. And that... Oh, this is gonna hurt. Yeah. We're gonna book it. Stop shooting. We probably can't even get away from this guy. So this is our hull integrity. If this ever drops to 0, we're dead. It doesn't have to get to 0 to kill you. Certain critical hits will end your life anyway. And we're not traveling fast enough. Come on, more power, more power. Now, if I kill him, technically I think I win the mission. We're not going to be able to kill him. Horrible things are happening. No mines left to deploy. We really can't turn any other shield towards him. Not if we want to keep running. And we do want to keep running. The problem is this disruptor is very accurate, even at medium and long range. So he'll just be able to keep pegging us like that. And each hit is hitting the hull. Because he's shooting at us from behind, it's generally hitting our warp core. So, not a great day all around. And we're done for. We have no energy. No power to defend ourselves with. Get to the lifeboats, everybody out. No! And there goes the USS Green. Now, we're not considered dead. We will get another ship. It'll generally be a crappier ship. But it'll be something to sort of work with. And because we did so poorly, we lose 75 prestige. People are horrifically disappointed. We've been given the USS Powell. Which I think is bigger. What? FFL. Let's see if there's one in the shipyard. Frigate. Oh boy. Okay, so we got a bigger ship actually. I guess the time has marched on enough so that the old FF that we had been flying is, well, out of date at this point. And so they gave us the crappiest ship of the current generation. So free tech upgrade. We'll do one more mission for this episode and then head on out, and we'll not do a convoy escort. Try and find something a little bit more patrol-y. And you'll be able to see the fantastic power that is plasma torpedoes. I don't know what our speed is going to be with this. Wow. Okay, so somehow, I'm not sure how, we're maintaining a speed of 11 while charging all weapons with 2 plasma torpedoes. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. It's okay, we might be able to fight him though. Not 2. I feel like the game is punishing me for being for hanging around the core systems. We may head away from them quite soon. He's the primary. That's not a Mirak ship. SAL-2. I don't know what that is. Heavy cruiser. Decent shields. Likely anyway. So, basically the moral of the story is anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So he's got a G-type plasma torpedo. That just way outguns us by many magnitudes. So we're going to speed up a bit. And put some power into this forward shield just to take his normal hits. And we're going to try and make him suffer as best we can. His plasma torpedoes. And he's got no shield. And he fired back. Oh, this is going to hurt. It was a pseudo torpedo. So, plasma torpedoes can fire pseudo torpedoes. Pseudo torpedoes look like plasma torpedoes. The sensors detect them as plasma torpedoes, but they're not real. Which means that they will deal no damage when they hit. They're basically meant to try and confuse your enemy up until the last moment, so you don't know what state their torpedoes are in. Because if you know when a plasma torpedo is charging, they're at a severe disadvantage at that time. So we're going to try and keep our distance a bit. I don't know why he hasn't fired more missiles at me. He's got a decent amount of racks for it. But I'm not really complaining, if I'm quite honest. I don't like the fact that he's got disruptors. So I'm trying to keep them at range while my plasma torpedoes recharge. They're trying to reel me in a bit, and they are. So we're going to check our shield, how much energy. We are using all of it. So he's fired another one. Now if I fire a probe at him, I'll be able to see what kind of state his plasma torpedo launcher is in. Because that could be a pseudo. I don't think it is. I'm not quite sure what sort of changes to the AI were made for this mod. Aside from the fact that they will now use pseudo torpedoes from pretty close range. And we're going to come in again. So, plasma torpedoes can be fired in a couple of modes. Normal is what I'm doing right now, charging up, firing it. It's effective out to a range of about 10, and then it really starts dropping off in damage pretty quick. And we'll dump one on him too if we can manage it. Wow. This really kind of gives you an idea of just how good drone ships can be. His primary armament is missiles, so they cost no energy to charge. Luckily for me, they're really, really crap missiles. There are much, much better missiles he could have that he does not have. So I think we're just going to disengage here. There's no point in losing another ship. We are not having a great start to this campaign. We may head out towards the front, see if anybody's willing to help us out there. Keep him from chasing too closely. Yeah, I don't want to risk trying to fight them, especially not after having gotten a newer, better ship than what I had. Yeah, we'll probably head out towards the border, probably the Klingon border, now that we have plasma torpedoes. See what we can't do up against an actual enemy of ours. So, we'll probably pick that up in Space Dock in the next episode. I've been Tirek. Thanks for watching. If you sort of like what we're doing here, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.